I first tried cannabis when I was 13 and going on 14. At first it felt harmless, something that kids do when they're experimenting, curious, or just bored. By the age of 15 it became something else, a habit, a routine. I was also occasionally experimenting with alcohol back then. At the time I thought cannabis was the better option. Less destructive than alcohol, more natural, safer, and even healing. Maybe for some people it is, but at the time I wasn't using it in a way that helped me grow, especially considering that I was still a young child that was developing. Use that narrative, the safe alternative, to justify something that I wasn't ready to be honest about. I watched documentaries that highlighted all of its medicinal benefits. I heard stories about how it helped other people manage their pain and anxiety. But as I stated before, I ignored one key truth, that I, at the time, was still a child. A young brain still developing, and I completely disregarded what that kind of consistent exposure could do to someone who hadn't even figured out who they were yet. That usage continued all the way from my teens into my adulthood. Sometimes I took breaks for a few weeks, sometimes I took breaks for a few months, but I always found my way back to using it. I told myself that I'd just be mindful with its use, that I'd just do it weekly or just do it here and there. And that did hold true for some time. But at the end of the day, I always found myself back where I started off, habitual usage. Because my mindful ways eventually always gave way to old patterns. Before I knew it, I was back to smoking from sunrise to sunset. At this point, I've come to terms with the truth, that weed has no place in my life anymore. Not because it's evil, not because others shouldn't use it, but because it personally hinders me from becoming the version of myself that I've been chasing for so long. What once gave me peace and comfort started giving me anxiety and shame around my smoking. It started diluting my focus, muting my creativity, and it started numbing my drive. It's only been 6 weeks since I quit, and I already feel more alive. I'm more proactive, I'm more intentional, and most importantly, I'm actually starting to feel like myself again. Last night, I had a dream that I was smoking, and when I woke up, I felt sick with shame. I felt really anxious this morning, and I can't express to you guys how much and how grateful I am that it was just a dream. Because that dream reminded me of how far I've come and how far I still want to go. My longest stretch of cannabis sobriety since the first time I tried it when I was 13 has only been 8 months. I haven't made it past 8 months ever in my life. And I'm now setting my sights beyond that. One day I hope I can say that I've gone 3 years without smoking cannabis and getting high. The same way that I can say that I've gone 3 years without touching tobacco and nicotine since I quit over 3 years ago. And I'm also approaching 2 years in a few months since I had my last sip of alcohol. This journey isn't about perfection. It's about choosing alignment. It's about choosing a life that supports the person that I'm becoming. And 6 weeks in, I can tell you, I'm not going back. One day at a time, growth over perfection, always. And every decision you make and every action you take is a vote for your future self. So ask yourself, who do you want to be? And most importantly, remember that the sun always rises even through the darkest of nights.